Okay, today we're going to be making yucca soup. It's not going to be yuck. Hopefully it's going to be yummy, and I want it to be something like potato soup. I'm starting out with a little bit of onions. I got about 3/4 cups chopped onions. At the end I'm going to add in some green onions. Here I have my yucca that I've roasted in the oven at 350 degrees, wrapped in foil, for about half an hour until I could, stick a fork in there and see it's still kind of hard, it looks like, but we're going to cook it some more and soften it up. Have some extra virgin olive oil, and we also have some organic chicken broth. I'm going to read you these ingredients on here. Water, organic free-range chicken broth, sea salt, organic chicken fat, organic spices. So you definitely want to have any organic meat products. And you notice there's no monosodium glutamate in that there. So I've got my oil nice and heated up right here, and I'm going to just add in my onions. Pretty much you can do for a base for any soup is onions, chicken broth, garlic. Those three things, and you have those three things on hand, and you can make any type of nice soup. If you're not on a healing diet, some canned tomatoes too are also nice to have on hand. So I've got my garlic here. Garlic is great. Not only does it have great flavor, it's got allicin in it, which is a very good anti-inflammatory agent. Add that in there. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this yucca and I'm going to peel it off. Take the peel off here. The reason I'm using yucca, I'm trying to make something that would be like a potato leaf soup, or a potato onion soup. Now, the problem with potatoes is that they, along with tomatoes and eggplants, belong to the deadly nightshade family. Now, these foods are not really eaten until recently. They're considered poisonous. And they actually do have substances in them that can interfere with muscle metabolism. So if you're on some sort of healing diet, you should not have any peppers, tomatoes, potatoes. It's really hard. I used to eat potatoes like every single day. But they have a substance called solanine in it, and that is supposed to get in your muscles and interfere with the metabolism, cause more aches and pains. If you have something like rheumatoid arthritis, any other kind of inflammatory condition, you try to stay away from those foods, even though it can be super tough. Tomatoes, we use tomatoes in American cooking, Italian cooking, Mexican cooking. Tomatoes are everything. So I've got this peeled up here, and now my onions seem to be a little bit softer here. Those onions up a little bit more. I want to get just a tinge of brown on them. Just kind of break this up here. What I'm going to do with this yucca is very fibrous. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to blend it up in the blender with some chicken broth. Okay, so these onions are kind of browned on the edges here, if you want to look in this pan here. Now, I personally don't like to have big chunks of onions in my soup, so what I did is I put almost this whole entire 32 fluid ounces in here and blended this up till it's very nice and smooth, if you want to get a picture of that. See how smooth that is? It took about 3 minutes. Thick, creamy texture. Now, yucca has a very bland, potato-like flavor. Okay, so I'm just going to put the rest of my 32 fluid ounces of chicken broth in this pan here. And then I'm going to go ahead and yucca blend. Now, the thing about potatoes and tomatoes, it can be really hard to eliminate those from our diet. I know you might want to do some research into that. There is some evidence showing that those types of plants are not a good thing to eat all the time. So you can just maybe try to cut them down. This yucca, this is the really, if you just tell someone this is potato soup, you know, yucca can sound strange. It tastes the same. I can't even tell the difference. To make it a little sweeter, I'm just going to add a little dash of honey here. Just like a teaspoon. Okay, so I've got this heated up here. This soup is great because it just took a few minutes to make. It's going to be delicious. Now, I like the flavor of like leek potato soup. I don't know if you've had that. It's really good. Leeks can be really expensive, hard to find, so sometimes you can add just a few green onions at the end. It gives it kind of that green onion flavor that's similar to leeks. So we're just going to chop these up. As soon as the soup is heated up, it's going to be ready. You should try making the soup and just telling someone it's potato soup. As soon as that's heated up, since the yucca is already cooked, you don't need to cook it anymore. Leave that on for about 5 more minutes. Then you've got a rich, creamy soup. It's reminiscent of potato soup, but it's actually a root vegetable. And the yucca is supposed to be very good for you. The Incas had a legend on it that it was improved a man's potency. And it's also a very great anti-inflammatory vegetable, so that's good for something like rheumatoid arthritis, heart conditions, fibromyalgia. This soup would be great if you have ulcerative colitis, especially if you're in a flare-up stage. You could even blend up those onions if that's the case there. Have a little taste of this. A little salt. About a 1/4 teaspoon. And a little pepper should do it. If you also have some fresh herbs on hand, maybe a little parsley, a little tarragon might be good in this. A little tarragon would be great. Tarragon goes great with potatoes, and like potatoes, goes great with the yucca. Here we go. 10-minute potato yucca soup.